Hey everyone, it's Hailey and today is Bookmas day 24! We made it! Oh my god, I cannot believe it. I did 24 straight days of videos. That is so much. I obviously knew going into it that it was going to be a lot of videos and a lot of work, but I still didn't realize how much work it was going to be because oh my god. So Merry Christmas Eve. It is almost Christmas. Christmas is tomorrow and I figured I would get festive today. I have my pug ugly Christmas sweater, my pugly Christmas sweater. You knew I had to go there. But today we are back in front of my Christmas tree and we have the books here that I still need to unwrap, but you have already seen me unwrap them. But I haven't filmed that video yet. I'm planning on filming it right after this one. However, today we are going to be looking forward and looking back. So I'm going to be talking about 2018, how it went for me, all of that stuff, and I'm going to be talking about 2019, what my plans are, and what I'm hoping to accomplish. So 2018 was a great year in a lot of respects, but it was also not a great year in other respects. But definitely my number one thing that I am the most proud of is the fact that I wrote 2 books. I wrote a 100,000 word beast and then I wrote a 60,000 word little fun story, and it's actually sad too, but I love both of these books so much and I am so proud of myself. I cannot believe that I set out with the goal in 2018 of writing just 1 book. I just wanted to finally finish writing a novel to prove to myself that I could do it and to prove to the people that said I couldn't that I could. So I wanted to write as much, if not more, than I was reading last year or this past year, and I totally did. I definitely accomplished that. I feel like I gave birth twice this year and it was painful, but it was so worth it because I have these beautiful babies right here that 2019, my number one goal, ow, I just pulled my own hair, is to get one of them published. Obviously, I still feel successful. I'm so proud of myself for actually doing this. Like, it's crazy. We have twin travel novel and Book of Sisters here. Ah! But in 2019, I want to find an agent. I want to go forward with the publication process and see if that's something I could do. It's still a dream right now, but I'm holding out hope that I will be able to do it. So in January, I'm going to start my revisions on twin travel novel, and I think this is the one that I'm going to pursue publication with first. I love Book of Sisters. I love both of these books so much, and I'm very proud of the stories that I was able to tell in both of them, but this was just so much easier for me to write because it's in my comfort zone, and I think this is just where I would like to begin. Plus, I just love the characters and I already have a sequel planned. I have a sequel planned for both of them, but like the sequel is basically already written in my head, which is why this was such a quick writing process. So I think this is the story that I'm going to try and get published first, if I can. We shall see. But I did want to say thank you guys so much for all of your support in 2018 and going forward as well. Thank you in advance, because when a writing day got tough, all the support from you guys is what kept me going, because your excitement kept me excited even when I wasn't sure if my words were good enough. It was just so amazing to see so many people care about my writing process. It has been awesome to share it with you guys online, and I plan to continue doing that throughout the publication process and all of that. So thank you for all of that. It means the absolute world to me and I am so grateful for it. I also won NaNoWriMo this year by writing the entirety of twin travel novel. I wrote 60,000 some words, so I'm super happy with that. In terms of a reading year, it was also a pretty solid reading year. However, that is kind of the number one thing that I want to work on going into 2019. So in 2018, I read a lot of 3-star books. That took up the majority of my reading, which does tend to happen. That has kind of been a common theme throughout the years, but I feel like in 2018 especially, there were very few books that I was like, I absolutely adored this book. Now, there obviously were some. I talked about them in my top 10 of the year video, but I felt like this year more than any other, I was like kind of disillusioned with reading. It was something that I kept on putting on the back burner, and if it weren't for audiobooks, I don't know if I would have done any reading. So while this was the year that I fell in love with writing again, which I'm so grateful for, I kind of fell out of love with reading. So for 2019, I'm really hoping to curate my reading list and make sure that what I'm picking up are things that I'm actually going to enjoy. I think part of the reason why I was struggling with reading in 2018 was because I had so many books on my TBR and they weren't all books that I thought I was going to like. It was just books that I thought I might like, and I thought that they sounded interesting, and I was just like, yeah, let's pick it up because it sounds interesting. But I don't want to do that going forward because I obviously can't pick up every single book that sounds interesting to me. So I'm going to be a lot more selective about what I am deciding to buy because I don't have all the time to read all of the books. It's just not possible. It can't happen. As unfortunate as that is, that's reality. So before I pick up a book, I want to look at at the Goodreads reviews, look at the ratings, all of that stuff, and see how other people are feeling about it. And I will get multiple opinions because one person's opinion doesn't mean it's going to be my opinion, which is true for both positive and negative reviews, because I used to see like one good review, hear one person talking about one book constantly, and I'd be like, wow, I should really read that. But that's just not what I want to do going forward, because I don't want to feel like my TBR is a weight on my shoulders that I'm constantly fighting a losing battle. I want to feel excited about all the things that I have to read. So I'm going to be prioritizing the books that are on my TBR right now that I'm not sure if I'm going to like them. I always have a feeling of how I'm going to feel about a book before I start it. So there are a number of books on my TBR right now that I was like, yeah, you seem cool, but I don't really know if I'm gonna love you. So I want to try and get those books out of the way at the beginning of the year so then I can be ready to tackle all the amazing new releases that are going to be coming out in 2019. So with that being said, I also want to be DNFing books. Now, DNFing means that you did not finish a book, and it's something that I have done with a few books this year. I did it with Bridge of Clay by Marcus Zuzak, unfortunately. I did it with Onyx and Ivory by Mindy Arnett, I believe was the author, and I did it with Sky in the Deep by Adrienne Young. So those are all books that I was about 100 pages into them, and I was like, I'm not really feeling it. I'm not invested in the story or the characters or anything like that. Actually, with Bridge of Clay, it was much more than 100 pages, but nonetheless, I want to go forward and continue to give myself that permission to close a book if I'm not feeling it. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but I'm very competitive with myself with reading, I guess, and I always feel like I want to finish every single book that I pick up. That's always been how I think of reading. I feel like I want to be satisfied that I closed that book and I finished it, but why am I trudging through books when I already have so many I'm excited about and I don't have time to read them all? I don't want to do that anymore. I do want to ideally curate my reading list so then that won't be something that I'll have to deal with, but I also don't want to force myself to finish something, force myself to read anything that I don't want to read. I want to fall back in love with reading, so ultimately that is about me and choosing the books that I really want to read. I feel like this is something that will really only make sense in my head because it is like a personal thing and kind of a mental block that I have, but DNFing always seemed taboo to me. I totally encouraged everyone else doing it, but for me I was like, no, like how are you gonna mark that book off on your Goodreads, blah blah blah, but like one, Goodreads doesn't really matter, and two, I can still mark the book as read on Goodreads because I tried and it doesn't matter once again. I just won't give it a rating because I don't want to really rate a book off of 100 pages or however many pages I ended up reading. Now, like I mentioned, this past year has been the year of audiobooks, and I will continue to love audiobooks and I will continue to listen to audiobooks because I think they're excellent. I'm a very busy person and audiobooks make sure that I continue to read even when I don't have the time to physically pick up a book. And let me tell you, I don't even remember the last time I picked up a physical book. I think it was on October 31st when I did my 24-hour Halloween readathon, and I'm sure that I will pick one up for my Christmas readathon, but like I said, this video is being pre-filmed, so I don't know if I did. But I just feel like that makes me really sad. I've been so exhausted from writing and just not able to pick up a book and like focus on those words and really enjoy it. So I think part of that is because of what I have been reading. Part of it is because I still am kind of in a reading slump. And the other part is audiobooks are just so easy that I've been like, let's just put on an audiobook every time. But I haven't actually even listened to an audiobook in like a month. All of December, I haven't listened to an audiobook yet. I have just been endlessly rewatching RuPaul's Drag Race, and that's what I've been doing before bed. I put on RuPaul's Drag Race and I fall asleep to it. So that obsession has taken off very quickly, but it's also something that I want to try and stop because I've seen all of the seasons like 4 times. It is ridiculous. I know it's a problem, but because of that, I haven't been reading. It's just so much easier to like put on a TV show and be like, oh, like whatever, I'm just gonna watch this TV show and relax. No, I want to stop that. So to try and encourage myself to physically pick up a book, I'm going to try and start and end every single day with reading. Whether it's 1 or 2 pages or 50 pages, an entire chapter, an entire book, I don't care. I want to start and end my day with reading. So I will wake up and pick up my book, which is always on my bedside table, and I will go to bed and I will pick up that book and I will fall asleep while reading that book because reading is so relaxing and it's just so easy to fall asleep while reading a book. So that's why I want to start the day and end the day with reading, because starting the day I will probably get more reading done then because at night I'm just falling asleep. But I still want to have those times where I can be held accountable and I will be dedicating a certain amount of time every single day to reading. Now I'm going to set my Goodreads goal this year at 50 books. Last year I set it at 12 books because I didn't want to put pressure on myself. I wanted to focus on writing exciting. But this year I really would like to try and get to 50 books. I did surpass that goal last year, but I think with trying to do less audiobooks in 2019, it might be a little bit more difficult to get to 50, but I think it's a challenge that is definitely attainable. And in terms of what 50 books I'm planning on reading, I want to try and reread the Harry Potter series. I think I'm doing that with Hannah from A Clockwork Reader, because some of the Harry Potter books I've actually only ever listened to the audiobooks for, so I would really like to physically read all of them. I just have been putting it off because I feel bad rereading something when I have so many books on my TBR that I really should be prioritizing. So rereading Harry Potter, as well as getting to those books that are on my TBR that I'm not sure if I'm actually going to like. I want to just get them off so then they're not taking up valuable shelf space. And then I also would like to prioritize arcs and new releases, because for some reason this year I was just really bad with that. I was bad with getting to all the arcs that I had, and I was especially bad with getting to new releases in a timely fashion. Not that anyone's holding me accountable for any of that, but I want to hold myself accountable because I want to read the sequels. Oh my god, I need to get to sequels. In 2018, I read hardly any sequels. I was so bad about getting to them, and I want to fix that. I want to get caught up on the ones from 2018 and even some from 2017, and I want to get to the ones that are coming out in 2019. I don't want to be dilly-dallying on any of this stuff. I need to get it done. So in order to accomplish all of these things, I'm planning on getting back to my monthly TBR challenges. I started doing those last year in like March or something, and then I started focusing on writing and I wasn't really reading, so then they kind of were just like, what? And I just went, I don't know what that noise was, but with my TBR, I wasn't really following my TBR. It was just a fun video for me to do. So I want to try and make my TBR more like a list of goals rather than a list of things that like I might pick up. So my TBR challenges, just off the top of my head, if I'm remembering correctly, it was a classic, a TBR veteran, which is a book that had been on my TBR for a long time, a sequel, a new release from the past month, a new release from the current month, and then a new release from the next month if I had an arc. And I think that was all of them. So that is, I lost count. It's 5 or 6 books, which I think is totally an easy goal to accomplish. That isn't unattainable. And if I miss it one month, hey, whatever, it doesn't really matter that much, but it is a challenge that I will try and rise to. So reading and writing aside, those are obviously 2 things that I want to focus on going into the new year. But another thing that I want to focus on is myself, because in 2018, I really kind of let myself go. I stopped caring about my own health, and that's obviously a problem when I stopped taking care of myself. So I want to sign up for boxing classes. Now that I've said it, I have to do it. My only hesitation with that was the fact that it's so expensive, but I think it's an investment in myself, as stupid as that sounds. I have been feeling like crap lately, so I want to try and get back to where I once was, where I was feeling really good about myself, and mentally and physically I was healthy, because right now I'm not, and that's something that I definitely want to work on. So my top 3 resolutions are working on myself, working on my publication and writing, and working on reading and getting back into love with it. Now in 2019, I plan on going to BookCon and Book Expo again, because I went this past year and I had such an amazing time. It was so great to finally meet everyone, to finally get out there and do something that's really out of my comfort zone, because that just sets my anxiety off. But it was still such an amazing experience, and I met so many friends and so many amazing people this year. I met Hannah and Zoe, which are 2 of my best friends now, and we have Bookmarked. We started Bookmarked this year, and that has been an absolute blast. It's one of my favorite things that I have done from my channel. I love doing it, and it really helped me in a time where I was feeling kind of blah about my channel. It helped me to fall back in love with it and find the community in booktube, because that's something that I've been really bad at, because I'm horrible at making friends. I'm horrible at reaching out because I just feel stupid. So I've always been really isolated in the bookish community. I've kind of done that to myself. So this year was amazing to be making so many friends and people that I just text randomly about things. Like, I never had that with people who weren't like actually living where I live. I don't know. It's just amazing, and I'm so glad that I have met 2 of the most amazing people, and I am forever grateful for their friendship. I also hope that you guys have been loving Bookmarked as much as I have, because it is so much fun, and I also have loved the response because it seems like you guys are really liking it. So I believe that was all that I wanted to say about 2018 and going forward for 2019. So I hope that you all have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever it is you celebrate. I hope you have an amazing December 25th and an amazing 2019. You are starting with a fresh start. That's why I love the new year, is because it's like a clean slate. Obviously, any of these things I could start at any time, but I feel like starting with an entire new year, it feels like you have an opportunity to remake yourself and just start fresh, which I love doing. I just love me a clean slate. So I hope you accomplished all you wanted to in 2018, and I hope that you will accomplish accomplish everything that you want to in 2019, and don't feel bad if you didn't or if you won't, because you are only human and you are still a beautiful human nonetheless. So that is all for Bookmas. Thank you guys so much for joining me for these past 24 days straight of videos. It has been so much work, but it has been so much fun to do it. So we will be getting back to my regular schedule, so don't forget to click that subscribe button and then click that bell icon so you'll be notified whenever I post. I post new videos every Wednesday and Friday, and I should be back to the regular schedule this week, so I should have a video going up on Wednesday depending on various factors, but I'm going to try my hardest to not have a gap in between Bookmas and regular videos. But you can also follow me on all of my social media. All of my handles and links and all of that stuff will be down below. So thank you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!